Hi everyone, welcome back to Lost in My Library. My name is Kate and today I am doing my 20 books that I'm wanting to read in 2020 kind of thing. So let's get interesting. I'm a big fan of horror movies, and that is Final Girls by Riley Sager. And it's a kind of has that trope of Final Girl, and I find that really interesting whole book kind of about that. My nephew wrote in my book, so well, that's lovely. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I really want to read it next year, and I want to read I think it's kind of a series or like spiritual successors, so I really want to read this one. Okay, moving on to the next. Also, as most of you know, I am a big fan of classics. And so in 2020, I want to get through a lot of my classics. So I have a couple that I don't have right now. I own them. I'm not sure where they are. So, but I have them written down. And that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. It's a classic, if you don't know. It's the original Dracula. It's the one that started all, the whole vampire craze. So I'd like to get through it and read, where it all started. It's also a classic, and I love it. And I love horror. And another classic horror is Frankenstein. I also own Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and it's the original of the big green dude, Dr. Frankenstein, who made a monster who is a lot of times called Frankenstein, but Frankenstein is the name of the doctor, and he's just called the monster, I believe, is just who he's called. It's kind of funny because this is a story that was written as kind of a contest between her husband, who is Percy Shelley. He is a poet, and some of their friends. So that's kind of interesting. Mary Shelley kind of went a little bit crazy when her husband died. If you don't know about that whole story, I highly recommend looking it up because it's very entertaining, I think so, my personal opinion. But I want to read the story that is Frankenstein. And so I have two classics that I do know where they are and have right now. And that's Phantom of the Opera by, what is his name? Gaston Leroux. Both of these, I believe, are French. This one and the next one that I'm going to hold up. And this one is obviously where the famous musical is from. I haven't seen the musical, actually. I do believe this is also kind of a horror novel. Question mark, love, horror. I'm not 100% sure about this one, so we'll see. But I do want to read it because it's obviously wonderful classic, and yep, that's all I gotta say about that one. And then next one is The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, I believe. I say it. I love this edition. I found this at Goodwill, and I love how it looks, and I just want to read it. It is a long book. Good night. We'll see. Oh, it's a collection. Is this a collection of short stories? Is this a collection of short stories? No, it's a whole story. Okay. It's a whole book. I was like, is this a collection of short stories? I didn't know that. Okay. No, it's actually a full novel, not a collection of short stories. I've seen multiple adaptations of weird adaptations of The Three Musketeers, including the Disney version with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy as the Three Musketeers. I've seen the one that has what's his face? Logan Lerman, I think that's his name, as the, I don't know names. He's the fourth guy that kind of shows up. I've seen that movie as well. It's been a long time. But, yes, I don't know much about the original story, though. Because the Three Musketeers, you can do a whole lot with that story. So, there's that. And then we'll go through, I'll mention 2 famous authors of mystery that one I highly adore, and the other one I used to highly adore, and then I read her second novel, or read another novel by her, and I just was not impressed at all. I hated it. Still do. Anyways, so we'll start with the person I don't particularly like, even though I loved the first book I ever read by her, and that is And Then There Were None, and I did not like Murder on the Orient Express. But these are not pro novels. These are one standalone, and that is The Crooked House by Agatha Christie. I started reading this as well. It's kind of short. I was enjoying it when I was reading it, and then I also realized Supernatural did a whole episode based on this book. That's why it sounded so familiar. So I think I'm gonna like this one. I think it's pro that I don't like, so I'm putting pro on the back burner for now. And then the next one is a collection of short stories, horror short stories by her. It's called The Last Seance and Tales of the Supernatural. Haha, Supernatural. Featuring a story never before published in the States. So this is just a bunch of short stories by her, or mystery, kind of my style. So I'm hoping to get to this maybe in October of next year, but I'm always in the spooky mood, obviously, because I'm reading King in December, so you know, spooky. Anyways, and moving on to the writer I actually adore, and that is Arthur Conan Doyle, and this is my big book of Sherlock Holmes stories. This one has 44. I'm not planning on. Well, you know, it'd be nice to read this whole thing, but I'll break it up into like increments, obviously, because this is a big book. I believe it's 44, so I might break up to like 11 short stories per thing I read, and then there's 4 of his novels in here as well. So I think I'm going to start with A Study in Scarlet, which is, I believe, one of the first I think it is the first Sherlock Holmes full novel that Arthur Conan Doyle wrote. I read The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. So I have like 3 different copies of Hound of the Baskervilles. So I don't need more, but you know, I love Sherlock Holmes. So if you want to send me Sherlock Holmes, please do. I love him. I have a little, I don't even know if I've shown you this. I have a little doodad. I have a little Sherlock Holmes. If you want to send me anything Sherlock Holmes, please do. I have an obsession. So we'll put him back up there. So anyways, I think that's all my classics. So let's move on. New year, new trying to finish series, finally. And we'll talk about a few series. One, I actually own the next book in the series for me to read. The other 2, I do not own the next one of. So we'll talk about the one I own physically, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic. Well, it's the sequel to A Darker Shade of Magic, and that is A Gathering of Shadows. If you don't know, this is a fantasy series by V. Schwab, where there's 4 different Londons. There's black, gray, white, and red. Wow, it's been a bit. And there's Kel, who is our main character. He is, I don't remember what they're called. They start with an A. I don't remember what they're called. But he can travel to all 4 Londons, and he's one of the only ones that can. And the first book kind of explores that when a magical people haven't been able to go to Black London, but when an artifact from Black London shows up in his possession, he is now able to get to Black London, which is kind of crazy, because you can only get 2 different Londons when you have an artifact from that London, so you can kind of switch. He is from he's from White London. No, he's from Red London. Red London, which is full of magic, and it's a healthy amount. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's a very healthy much. And then we have White London, which has magic, but it's very starving of magic. And then we have Grey London, which is like our universe. It just has no magic at all. And then there is Black London, which has been taken over by magic. And so I just want to get through this. It's a good. I just want to read it. I just want to read it. Okay, so the next one is the 3rd book in the Grisha trilogy, which is Ruin and Rising. I read the 2nd book recently. I loved the 2nd book. It was so good. So good. First book, so good. 2nd book, so good. Oh. So, 3rd book, I'm wanting to know what happens after that cliffhanger at the end of the 2nd book. I must know. I must know how this trilogy ends. It's so good. I'm just gonna savor in them, and how amazing. I'm in love with the Grisha trilogy, and then I'm wanting to continue with the rest of the expanded universe and all of that as well. And then the next one is another sequel, and that is Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I read Scythe this year, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. So I'd like to continue and see where the story leads. I've heard Thunderhead is even better than Scythe, so I'm ready. I'm ready for the goodness of the Arc of the Scythe. And I've heard Twill's not that good, so I just want to read Thunderhead and see what everybody's been insane about in Thunderhead. So those are my series that I do want to finish right now, but I have plenty that I want to start. Before we get to the series, though, I will talk about a standalone that I got for Christmas, and that is the Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It is a standalone fantasy novel, and look at this chunker. Look at it. It is a chunky book. She is chunky and all in the right places, hopefully. I've heard mixed things about this one. Yep. I want to get through her. So, we'll see. Hopefully. I'm kind of dreading her. But, hopefully she's good. And we'll get through her quickly. Maybe she'll be like a Rick Riordan book. Chunky, but reads fast. So, hopefully. Hopefully you'll be a Rick Riordan book. Similar. You don't have to be one, but like, similar. Please. I need quick reads. Okay. Quick, chunky reads. Is that a real thing? Quick, chunky reads? I mean, have you seen Rick Riordan's writing? It's kind of chunky. He writes chunky books, but they're quick reads because they're great. Okay, so, now on to series I want to start. We'll start with Rick Riordan, who is one of my favorite authors of all time. Love to read his books. His books are kind of chunky, but, well, they're good, and they're fast reads. So, the first one is a book that I started, but I did not finish, and I want to finish this, and hopefully finish the series as well this year, and that is Magnus Chase. Well, this is the first book in the Sword of Summer. And the series is just the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. I forget what the next 2 books are, but I want to finish this series, but I need to technically finish this series, finished this first book, so it's kind of the start of series. So I'm looking forward to getting on with this series. It's first book is really, really good, and I was enjoying it, and then I had to put it down, sadly. So I'm hoping to pick this up real soon. Hopefully next month, maybe. And then the other one is his other ongoing series, or his ongoing series at the moment, and that is the Trials of Apollo series. I don't own it, but I hope to own it very soon. And the first book is called The Hidden Oracle, and this is a continuation of the Percy Jackson series, which I've loved for a really long time now. I've started around 7th grade-ish. So it's been about almost 10 years that I've been reading the Percy Jackson series, which includes the Heroes of Olympus series as well. So I'm looking forward to it, just seeing where my favorite characters and my favorite couple of all time, Percy and Annabeth, go. I know they're not main characters, but they are in the story, and I'm excited. I love the world that Rick Riordan has built, and I love Percy and Annabeth, who has been the main staple of pretty much every series that he's ever written, including the Kane Chronicles, where he has a crossover with the Percy and Annabeth crossover with them, and I know that they're in Gods of Asgard as well, because Magnus Chase, spoilers, put my hand down when I'm done spoiling the book. Annabeth is Magnus Chase's cousin, so that's why she's in it, and I think Percy's in it in later books, so this is gonna be real good. Okay, I'm done spoiling Magnus Chase. Anyways, moving on to a book that you'll see in my haul video coming up kind of soon. I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble real soon and use my gift cards. But I got this for Christmas, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read Brandon Sanderson. I've been told I should read Brandon Sanderson, and I decided this was the good series to start out with, because it's just going to be a duology, and it's not a ginormous beast like his other books seem to tend to be. So and this is young adult, so it's kind of right up my alley. This is about a girl who pretty much everybody has talked about this book, but she wants to be a pilot but can't because of what her father did. So I am looking forward to reading this, and I think the second book just came out. So hopefully I'll get to that one pretty soon as well. Okay, so the next two go together because they're one series and I was running out of books. So, and that is going to be, all these things are giant. Okay. Walking Dead Compendium 1 and The Walking Dead Compendium 2. I have actually read, oh good lord, ow, my shoulder. I've actually read Compendium 1 all the way through, and you can see it's a graphic novel. I just opened to a random page. I don't even know what's going on in this page, but who knows. I've actually read this whole book. I haven't read Compendium 2, and I'm just wanting to collect all 4. There's 4 of them, and I have a couple like separate issues of later issues in the series, but I want to read these 2 because good lord, these things are big, and I want to see more what the comics are like. I've read this first book. Ooh, it's a doozy. The comics are kind of a doozy. If you have seen the TV show, I'm going to say this, and you have a problem with I'm gonna say anything, literally anything in the show. Do not read the comics. Do not read the comics, because you're not going to be able to handle the comics. The TV show is tame. It's like it's nothing compared to these things. Nothing. If you have any problem of anything in the show, do not read the comics. I'm just going to state that, because even though they're really good, I've really enjoyed the comics, and I've enjoyed some things better than the TV show from the comics, and a lot of things were drawn out from the comics to the TV show, and things are changed. But there's some things I don't like as much in the comics, being my favorite female character in the TV show, Carol, who she's in the comics, but she's not very good at all. She's not a very good character. Rick, I like Rick a lot better in the comics than the TV show. Certain other characters like Michonne, I don't like as much as in the comics. She's in the comics. I don't like Therese in the comics. But like fan favorites like Glenn and Maggie, Herschel, they're all like standout characters. They're good. They're good people. I like them. Nothing's changed. Lori's a lot better in the comics than in the TV show. And things kind of make more sense, and people do a lot more sensible things in the comics rather than the TV show. So, there's some good things and there's some bad things from the comics to the TV show, but I don't know. For my sanity, I'd probably prefer the TV show to the comics, because there was one part in particular that is just standing out in my mind, and it will forever stay out in my mind, that made me want to shut the book forever and not touch the comics ever again. So there's that. I'm looking forward to not really rereading. I might skip over that part because I've read it, I've experienced it. I don't need to experience it ever again. But I'm excited to get to Negan. I don't think Negan's not in the second book compendium. I don't know what's going on in the second compendium. I think Negan comes in the third compendium. And then like the Whispering War also is kind of in that section. I don't know what's happening in the second. Well, we'll figure it out, guys. And that is 20 books I want to read in 2020. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you've read any of these books. Tell me what you thought of these books in the comments down below. Or just, tell me about your day. Whatever whatever you decide. Whatever you want to tell me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. So my first list of books, I'm doing this kind of in sections, is my horror books. What horror books I'm wanting to read in the year of 2020. Now that if you follow my vlogs or follow me, I'm wanting to read Stephen King from in publication order, and I am currently reading Salem's Lot, and I'll be finishing that here pretty soon. So the next book in publication order is The Shining. So that is one of the first books I'm hoping to read in 2020, and hopefully I want it coming here pretty soon, because I got some gift cards for Barnes & Noble to get books like this. Okay, my next one is a book I have tried to read multiple times, and it's just a difficult book, and that is Cold Hard Canyon by Clive Baker. As you can see, I annotated the crap out of this book. I really don't remember much of these, except for these are deaths. I do remember that. The top ones are deaths. So spoilers, there's a lot of death in this book. There's a lot of trigger warnings in this book, and it is a doozy to get through. I don't know if all Clive Baker's novels are like this, but I don't think I'll be continuing with him once I get through this. This was free, so no harm if I just decide to nope out of this one. So we'll see. This one will probably get unhauled by the time I'm finished with this book. So we'll see about